What's up, Possums? It's Joe. That's Josh. We got Billy here from Offensive Points. Guys, we are just itching for the actual NFL draft to happen, which thankfully is later this month. So today we're going to do a fun little exercise. We're going to do our second mock draft 2.0. So I'm excited to hear what these guys' thoughts are. I have a few of my own. But if you're really psyched for rookie draft season in Dynasty, go get the rookie draft guide on the site. We spent hours typing up bios and giving you all the insights on these players. And after the draft, when we find out their landing spots, there will be landing spots quickly with some analysis on it. So go check it out. It's $99.99 right now. So should be fun. Josh, Billy, what's up?
You know, honestly, I'm just happy to have control again so I can start the show whenever I want and, I don't know, just kind of be able to do that. Thanks, Nate, for getting me back in here. I have been forgetting to tell you every time. But, no, happy to talk some draft. Honestly, so much has changed since the last time we did a mock draft. I know that my draft looks completely different than it did originally, and I'm assuming you guys have some pretty good curveballs as well. So this is good. This is a good exercise because we never know who's picking who at this point. So, and just excited that we're in actual draft month at this point.
Pre-show talk has me really excited for how this draft's going to go. So I'm excited.
Yeah, no, the draft is like less than 3 weeks away, or maybe it is 3 weeks away. I don't know. I can't remember. I did the math earlier. And, yeah, no, I can't wait because some of the just chatter and random nonsense that's been on Twitter about the draft these last, week even. I feel like this happens every draft cycle. We start talking ourselves into just the most craziest stuff. And now we've got players that are out on visits, and most of these visits don't mean anything at all. So, it's take it with a grain of salt because whatever, the player is just taking a free trip to LA or wherever just to go. So I don't know. I'm ready to just get this draft going because I'm ready to talk about the aftermath more than what's the random chatter right now.
Well, you have a bunch of bets in, so let's hear a couple of your favorites.
Okay, well, I only have 4 bets in right now. One of them might be a little shook, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I have the Buffalo Bills taking a edge rusher with their first pick. It was plus 200 when I got it. It's probably even more now, higher odds because since they got rid of their wide receiver that we'll talk about too in a minute, they might be going that direction. I also took Joe Alt to go number 5. We'll talk about that when we get to the mock draft. Drake Maye at number 2. Talk about that at the mock draft. Both of those are plus money, which I think is just insane, by the way. Also, draft betting is crazy because you can bet something and then not even an hour later, the odds will be just completely different. For whatever reason, somebody might be just putting in a huge bet or something the public is just making these lines move all the time. And we're not even near the draft, technically speaking.
It's like watching the crypto markets, man. Always get a little
honestly, that's what it feels like.
I just lost $7. Oh, I'm up $15. Oh shit, I'm down 20. What's going on?
Well, I checked the Joe Alt bet an hour ago after I put it in this morning, and now it's plus 500. When I got it at plus 400, and I'm like, well, shit, I could have just waited a day and gotten better odds on it. But I mean, how would I have known that it was going to shift that much in one day?
That's when you just put another bet in.
Well, that's what they want you to do. I'm sure that's Vegas being oh, you wanted it plus 500, plus 600? What are we talking about here? Yeah, that's probably exactly what somebody's sitting there just moving the line just to bug me.
Mysterious tweet tomorrow, and it's minus 200. Then you'd have been screwed.
Yeah, exactly. They're just trying to psych me out. Okay, well, before we get to the mock draft, we got a big show, so we're just going to get through some of these topics right away. So let's just talk about the news of the day. Thank God this happened before the podcast because it probably would have thrown off our entire mock draft. But Stefon Diggs traded to the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans, all they had to give up was a 2025 second-round pick. So who cares? And they get Stefon Diggs. Guys, right off the top for the Houston part of this, what is your first initial thoughts about that wide receiver room now that they've added him?
Well, absolutely love it.
Oh, the Texans, I mean, they feel pretty good. They got pocket aces or something. They feel really good about where they were at last year, and they just pushed all the chips in here with this year. So we got Daniil Hunter on that team now. Then you had Stefon Diggs. With the wide receiver room, I mean, I think Nico's still the guy. I think this hurts Tank Dell more than it hurts Nico. But Diggs is going to be pretty potent with CJ Stroud. That deep ball is pretty gnarly. So those two should pair up often. Hopefully we see glimpses of it in camp. And the question for me is just where do you rank them now in redraft? In Dynasty, but we'll get to that later on.
Yeah, obviously there's been some talks of Stefon Diggs being a cancer to the locker room and yada yada. And I feel like anyone who's upset with their contract or upset with their team not signing the right people and watching it, nobody has lost as bad as the Buffalo Bills have these last 3 or 4 years. Like they lose every single year on a year where it looked like they're finally going to do it. And then of course the Chiefs take them out pretty much every time. But no, honestly, Stefon Diggs added to this room just makes this offense even more potent. the defense, we saw what they did in free agency, and they're probably one of the best defenses. This puts them as probably one of the best offenses. This team on paper is going to be a great team. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. Obviously, just completely boost CJ Stroud stock everywhere. Don't trade him in Dynasty, but you can put him on the trade block like me if you want to, just to see what happens.
Yeah, CJ Stroud's price is through the roof now. You're not going to get him. I saw somebody moved him up to Dynasty quarterback 4, and I'm like, did you not update your rankings at all after watching the season, or are you just late to the party? This did not make him number 4. He was already at number 3. The shot of him being potentially number 1 now, an argument at least with this addition, because this team, there is no weak link pass catcher. You could argue maybe the running back room with Joe Mixon, but even that I don't see as a big deal because he can pass catch just as well. So, yeah, he gets way boosted up, and I think all the wide receivers in this room are going to be fine. I still think they're all at least wide receiver 2s, with all of them having the potential to be a wide receiver 1 by the end of the end of the season. CJ Stroud's not a funnel guy. He is a spread it around a lot. So
this is a really good time to float some trades out for Dell or my favorite Nico. But when we're looking at the ADP right now on Fantasy Pros, Nico is currently wide receiver 10, Diggs is 16, and Dell is 18. The ship will right once this news comes in and more rankings get put in there. But what does that do draft wise?
Honestly, I don't know. I think you're just happy to get a piece of the pie, honestly.
Exactly. That's exactly it. You just want a piece of the puzzle. You don't need to worry about it, I think, once you get it.
Yeah. I feel like I would knock Dell down probably into the 40 range, but not wide receiver. Wide receiver.
It depends on the health of him coming back this year. I'm thinking that he's supposed to be presumably healthy to start camp and everything. So if he's fully healthy, honestly, 25. There's a chance that Stroud threw a lot last year. Obviously, with Mixon, they got him to bruise some runs out of the way. Still have Dameon Pierce on the team too. I know that he didn't have a good year last year, but he still has talent in the running back room in general. They're going to grind the ball a little bit, but I think for the most part, they're just going to be throwing this ball a lot.
When Dalton Schultz is the weak point at receiver, you're doing
which is wild.
Well, he's the only one I see that took, and if you even want to call it a hit, it's not like he was going to get drafted as tight end 2 or 3. He was still going to be, 6, 7. But he might be the only one that takes a slight little bump from this, or bump down. But I don't even see that. You're just going to want any piece of the Houston puzzle next season. Even Mixon, anybody you can get, you're probably going to want him on your team because this is going to be a high flying offense all season.
I just know I'm watching every single Texans game.
Oh, yeah.
In total. I'm not looking away from the screen.
They'll probably be putting a lot of that in primetime as well.
I'm not going to lie. I already put in a Super Bowl bet for the Texans and an MVP for CJ Stroud to put in a little bet ski. It wasn't a lot of money, but at this point, I got to have
a little bet ski.
I got to have the ticket in. A little bet ski. Awesome. All right, let's flip from the happy to the sad. The Buffalo Bills, after this news, it's Josh Allen and a bunch of people. What are your guys' initial thoughts with this? Now, I wouldn't even call it a wide receiver room. It's just a bunch of guys and Dalton Kincaid and James Cook. So what do you guys think about this group now?
I have a take that I think one might happen, but in general, they're going to trade or draft a wide receiver early. They have to add someone. That's what it comes down to. Obviously, they're probably pissed off that this happened after the Keenan Allen thing. I feel like Keenan Allen would have been a great addition here. Hey, a little veteran presence, There are some young guys that are having some contract disputes, though, and, some teams that might not be able to pay some wide receivers in the future, though. So
the screams
they can't pay anybody. I don't think so, Joe. They can't pay anybody.
No.
Josh Allen's $47 million next season, and they're still going to have to pay Stefon Diggs $20 million this next season. So there's no room to pay anybody.
Yeah, and
they cut
honestly,
White, they cut Poyer, they cut Gabe Davis. I mean, they got some space. I think they can make it happen.
I hadn't seen the compensation for Diggs until you just said it, Billy. So when I heard 2025 second, like you're not even getting anything from it this year. Like, how did you not get a second this year at the very least? I mean, I don't know. The Bills are in real rough shape. I say I feel bad for them, but I feel like I've felt bad for them for the last 3 years. So,
yeah. Well, I mean,
I think your Khalil Shakir take went up in Billy.
Well, that was one of my points. Was like, well, now if you wanted to go get Khalil Shakir, that's probably at least a little bit harder. I still think it's possible you could trade for him. I think the championship window is closed for the Buffalo Bills. I don't think this is going to happen. B, are they trying to model themselves after the Chiefs? Because the Chiefs didn't have any wide receivers either, and they think Josh Allen can just be Patrick Mahomes and just do it like that. I just don't see what they're thinking or what they're going to be able to do here. I'm not saying they need an elite receiver there, but they definitely need somebody catching the ball, and this ain't going to work if you just have Khalil Shakir, others, and Mac Hollins. I think he's there, big buy low there, and then you got Kincaid, Knox
by the biceps.
The tight ends are going to get some work, but yeah, you still need a receiver to run stretch the field. I mean, that's the issue here.
Yeah,
you got rid of your two field stretchers weirdly.
Yeah, so not good if you have a Buffalo Bill. I mean, Josh Allen, I still think he's fine, and Cook's fine, and Kincaid's fine, but possibly in the draft, they're just going to double up on wide receivers, maybe bring in two. You're paying them cheap, and you can get at least a decent talent in there if you would like to. But yeah, Buffalo Bills, yikes, is all I could say when I saw that trade. All right, let's quickly get to the other news story, which is kind of unfolding still, so it's kind of tough to guess. But Rashee Rice was in a crazy Lambo accident. The video footage on that was insane. Watching them fly through this just moseying traffic, and then you just see a Corvette and a Lambo just fly in from out of nowhere and just destroy everything. We don't really know what his involvement is yet. They're keeping that pretty tight-lipped, and we don't really know what the actual charge is because he hasn't been charged yet either. So should we be panicking on Rashee Rice, or is this just maybe go float something out to the Rashee Rice manager and see if you can get him on the cheap?
Yeah, I think they have not, from my understanding, there's not been a video that established that he was driving yet.
Mm-mm.
And I think
but like, look, come on, like he was.
He's allegedly the Corvette driver, but that's not actually out there. Like, it's not proven.
He owned one of the cars, so
yeah. Well, that's true too.
I think it was the Corvette. Sorry, I actually just watched the video.
Gosh, you've driven my car before, so
stupidly as well. And if I would have crashed it, I would have probably also done what Rashee Rice did, leave. No, I'm just kidding. I would never.
The witnesses at the scene said somebody went and grabbed a duffel bag full of guns out of the trunk, and I'm just like, what? Like, what is happening? Like, that obviously has not been proven either, but like, that's just hilarious.
You would assume if you had a duffel bag full of guns, it would be zipped up.
Sometimes the stocks stick out,
Well, and it probably had a big duct tape sign on it that said guns, and so
guns,
like
money and drugs. Yeah, like the money.
That will be in our merch store soon. Just a duffel bag that says guns on it.
Guns.
We're only joking about this because there was no like big injuries. I think there was some people that had to go to the hospital, and there was injuries, but like there was not a death. It was not a Henry Ruggs situation. So that is the positive thing. My only take from this is, should we look into what players' cars look like? Because I feel like if you buy a Lambo and a Corvette, you're probably going to take it fast and something's going to happen. I feel like we've got just a plethora of traffic violations that just happen all the time. And I just feel like we should see what people are driving, because
it just comes down to people get stupid amount of money when they haven't had money. We would also do something stupid if we got millions of dollars. I mean, hopefully not this stupid, but like, it's when you give someone who hasn't had money their whole life, or, has been living paycheck to paycheck, or in college and not had a chance, you give them millions of dollars in 3 months to do whatever the fuck they want. This kind of shit happens, unfortunately.
If you gave me millions of dollars in college, I would be lucky to be in this seat today.
I don't even want to know what that would have looked like, Joe. Just saying, don't want to know.
It'd have been
I
fun.
remember how it was poor, but
And I would have loved being a roommate then.
Can't even imagine what it would have been like back then with a bunch of cash. So we'll keep this story updated. We'll find out. I mean, a lot of people are like already panicking and saying you need to sell him because he's not going to be available for the entire season. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? No, that's not going to happen.
My thing is it's a worst comes to worst, it's a DUI crash, and like as if he's going to get suspended for a long time for that. I mean, a couple games at the most if this was actually proven to be worse than it is.
Well, you can't establish a DUI crash because he waited.
Yeah, fleeing the scene. But I mean, usually you can pretty much assume that's why they fled the scene. But you know, in general, like I mean, this isn't the worst thing that an NFL player has ever done. He's not getting suspended for a year. It'd be a few games, if anything.
Even if he was to get suspended for 2 games, I'm probably not moving him down much.
Doesn't really change anything.
I mean,
yeah,
there's plenty of times where a good player has 2 bad weeks and you don't panic sell, but whatever. We'll keep that story updated as we go along because I'm sure we will get more information as the weeks go on.
Now, if the Chiefs go out and draft like an Adonai Mitchell or something, paired with Marquise Brown, paired with Travis Kelce, paired with this news, yeah, I'd probably fade him a little bit. By the way, side note, is that a Cecil Shorts jersey?
That is a Cecil Shorts jersey on the wall behind me. Yes, if you played fantasy football in the early aughts, he was a very random Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver. They had a whole run of just random people that were playing wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Cecil Shorts
and just
was one
the
of them.
Team in general. The Jaguars have always been such a random team. Sad to see that they still can't figure it out.
Every year we draft a Jaguars wide receiver and be like, this is it. This is the year he repeats, and it never happens.
Dude, Cecil Shorts was good. Cecil Shorts was good for like a 3-catch, 108 yards, 1 touchdown game at least one time the whole season. Like you wouldn't know when it was coming, and you would play him the next week, and he would go like 2 for 15. But that 3 for 108 and a touchdown, you were like, thank God.
Or when everyone was going balls out to get Justin Blackman and D.D. Westbrook. Oh my God.
Yep, D.D. That was an oof too. Yeah.
Blast from the past there.
That was a blast from the past. All right. Let's move on to
my dude.
My favorite guy.
Everybody liked Justin Forsett. All right. On to the mock draft. We have done one. I think we did one in February. This one's going to be completely different than that one. I can already tell. I looked over it before we did this. No, that probably isn't going to happen. We have the ability to do trades this time, so we are going to do those if need be. But without further ado, fellas, let's get right to it. So 2024 mock draft, first team on the clock is Joe's Bears. Joe, have you chosen to stick with Caleb Williams, or are you thinking about going a different direction for them?
Caleb Williams is God, and we will treat him as such. So, yeah.
Did the pink nail polish and pink phone case sway you at all? I saw.
No, dude. If anything, that enhanced his awesomeness to me.
A lot of people talking shit
on
that.
A lot of 40-year-old people on Twitter. Like that was not cool.
I was just kind of like, okay, who gives a shit? Like whatever. Like, I will say, I originally said that the Bears should do whatever they get the best turnaround for is, and they got a 6th-round pick for Justin Fields. So I don't know why they did that, but Caleb Williams, it is.
Yep, Bill. This is a pretty easy pick. It's Caleb Williams. That's just, don't think we need to get too crazy with that. All right, on to pick number 2, Washington. We think they're going to go quarterback, but Josh, are they going to go with Drake Maye, or are they going to go with Jaden Daniels, or a wild card?
See, I don't know if this is just what I hope for, because I feel like we talked about this last pod about how if they get Drake Maye, all their weapons stay the same. But I personally think it's Drake Maye. I think Jaden Daniels is fine, and I think he goes very shortly after this. But I had Drake Maye going to Washington.
Joe?
I think DC being so close to Baltimore that they've seen what Lamar Jackson can do, and Jaden Daniels very well could be better than Lamar Jackson. So, yeah, I'd go Jaden Daniels here. Billy, you guys.
All right. So to break the tie here, my only problem with them drafting Jaden Daniels is they just saw what RG3 had. Like, that's still pretty fresh in their memory. And this has an RG3 type potential situation written all over it with Jaden Daniels with how violently he runs. So I think the fan base is going to want to play it safe, take Drake Maye. They trade in one North Carolina quarterback for another North Carolina quarterback with Sam Howell being there before and now Drake Maye. And I think they go Drake Maye.
Well, you already blew out my draft, so
Man, that RG3 take though, like, oof, awkward.
That's like, look, he runs the same style. I mean, RG3 isn't as good of an athlete as Jaden Daniels at all. So it's not exactly a 1-to-1 comp, but I can see the violence with how Jaden Daniels runs and some of the hits that he takes. That I would just be having flashbacks of the RG3 experience because he was really good the first season, but then obviously injuries happened. And
I'm assuming we're going Drake Maye here to Washington.
Yep, Drake Maye.
So my take actually here is the Patriots would rather have Jaden Daniels after letting Belichick go. This is the complete opposite of what Belichick would ever draft, and I think this is what they do. They go, "Hey, let's try something new." We've seen all these mobile quarterbacks come and go. We've had Brady, we've had Garoppolo, and people afterwards, and we haven't had a mobile quarterback yet, and that's why I think Jaden Daniels goes to Patriots.
Yep. Okay, on my board. Oh, sorry, Bill. Go ahead.
Go for it. Oh, no? Okay. Well, I think there's two options here. They can either A, go with the quarterback and Jaden Daniels, which I think would make a lot of Patriots fans happy that they have actual hope at quarterback, which they haven't had since Tom Brady left, really. I mean, honestly, they can talk themselves into Mac Jones, but come on, that was never actually going to happen.
They got rid of him for a reason.
Or they could trade the pick, which I'm not ruling out as a possibility. If I had to guess right now, it's like 70% taking Jaden Daniels, 30% trade. But I think my pick would be Jaden Daniels. Joe, I would love to hear what your theory is here.
Okay, so on my board, I had Jaden Daniels going at number 2, and I had J.J. McCarthy going at number 3 to the Patriots.
You're a psychopath.
I am a psychopath, but hey, man, all the signs point to it. I don't know. It makes sense for them to trade this pick. Honestly,
what do you mean the signs? What are the signs pointing to it? What is that? What do you mean by that?
They love him, man. They've been all over it. I just see this meteoric rise of J.J. McCarthy, and I'm like, who's going to do that? Oh, it's going to be the Patriots.
I will say
their other Michigan quarterback and go to town.
In our first mock, I think I was the one who said J.J. McCarthy goes to I think it was the Broncos or somewhere in the middle of the early round. And you guys all thought I was crazy. And then somehow he's vaulted his way up, apparently in Joe's eyes, to number 3. But I even in number 4, number 5, number 6, is where he's projected to go. I personally don't think that happens. I feel like this is all a hype up. I do like J.J. McCarthy. I think he'll be a valuable quarterback for someone. But I think he needs to sit. I think he needs to develop into an NFL quarterback. I was really hoping he'd go to the Rams, kind of be the replacement to Stafford, kind of be the next torch there, but kind of probably not going to happen that far. But I got Jaden Daniels going. I think the top 3 quarterbacks is all but taken. And then after this, JJ McCarthy could be on the board at any time, in my opinion.
It's Jaden Daniels. Joe, don't do this with the JJ McCarthy thing.
I had Jaden Daniels at 2, so absolutely put him at 3. That's awesome.
Okay. That's fine. I'd love to hear where you had Drake Maye going, but we'll get to that. All right. Number 4 is the Arizona Cardinals. I'll start this one off because I think they should take Marvin Harrison Jr., but I would be open to listening to them potentially trading down and getting a war chest of picks for somebody to come up. But I personally think they should just take Marvin Harrison Jr. and have a franchise-changing wide receiver on your team forever. There's just no reason not to do that.
The only reason I could see the trade coming is actually Joe's Chicago Bears. I really could see them they wanted Marvin Harrison, they want Caleb Williams. They're really hoping to get both of them. And Malik Neighbors and Odunze might not make it to 9. I mean, you got very wide receiver needy teams in between there. Sure, the Falcons and Titans. I personally think both of them are wide receiver needy. But you got the Giants, the Chargers in between. Rome might not make it. And I think everybody has mocks going to 9, and he just might not make it. Someone could trade up and grab him. There's some teams that could float in there. I know that everywhere and every mock draft ever he's there. I can see the Bears making this blockbuster trade, throwing a second or next year first if they have to. I mean, there's options here, and the Cardinals could listen, but I personally think they grab Marvin Harrison. Don't think twice.
Is this what your crazy trade was before the pod when you were like, hey, I've got one team with it that's going to really blow your guys' mind and make you think differently? This wasn't even it? Oh, my God.
Nope.
No, Joe, if your Bears do this, I'm going to be so mad. They should not. There's so many wide receivers in this draft. They don't need to go up and trade more future away for this. I hope they don't.
To get the best one, though.
I mean, that's fine. Argument.
I don't see anything wrong with us double dipping like the Texans did. The only problem is we only have 4 picks in this draft, so I don't see anything outside of a first next year, which I don't know if Bulls would do that. So, but no, I mean, it would make a ton of sense to get the best quarterback in the draft with the best wide receiver in the draft and let them grow together.
So my actual crazy take was the Cowboys trade CeeDee Lamb for this pick and get Marvin Harrison.
You are hilarious.
I'm not even kidding, dude. Dak. They could also trade Dak to the Patriots or the Commanders for Drake or Jaden Daniels. Dude. You gotta think Jerry Jones is fucking pissed right now.
So they sat out free agency just to make this bonkers ass move.
I could see it. Be like, we get the next big thing. We're done with CeeDee Lamb. We don't want him anymore. I mean, honestly, I was personally thinking that they would trade more of a Dak for like Jayden or Drake Maye or whatever.
Okay.
But in reality, because I mean, think about it. That's like what was he, a 4th round pick or something? Trading a 4th for a 1st round pick, basically. I mean, sure, they'd have to give up some more compensation, but could make the Commanders compete.
I just think if he's got 1 year left on his deal, like there's no reason to make that move for Dak, especially CD. I don't like what just for the money saving purposes. I don't know why you would trade him just to get another wide receiver. I mean, he might be better eventually.
I agree, but this is Jerry Jones's world. He does whatever the hell he wants, and I can see it. That could be the next AJ Brown trade. And
I don't see it happening because their games are so different. But I see
this team's gonna have to change, and Marvin Harrison being on. It just makes sense to me personally.
Nice.
So let's just have the Cardinals take Marvin Harrison. Unless, Joe, you've got some other...
No. It's Marvin Harrison.
Okay,
cool. Dude, they went all in on Kyler Murray. Their line's stacked. Their defensive line's looking good.
I'll take the tinfoil hat off. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Cardinals are low-key going to be pretty decent next year. Their defense is a lot better than like it was this year, and I think the offense is going to need some time maybe, but fully healthy Kyler... James Conner still doing his thing. You got Greg Dortch. I mean, that's a wide receiver 1 right there. You don't even need Marvin Harrison. But then you get Marvin Harrison to put behind Dortch. I mean, it's perfect. Why not? And Trey McBride.
Anyway, number 5.
On to the 5th pick in the draft is the Los Angeles Chargers. Harbaugh is taking over. I think they're going Joe Alt. They're going to go. He is going to make this a power run team, whether people like it or not. And Justin Herbert's just going to have to fall in the line. I know everybody wants them to take a wide receiver. I know they've had wide receivers out for a visit. I just don't think they're going to do it. I think that they're going to go O-line just so they can get a run game in there, and that's what Harbaugh wants to do. So
to run with who?
They don't have him yet. That's the thing. They have to draft him in the 3rd round.
I could not disagree more with you, Billy. This is Malik Neighbors. They just cleared out their wide receiver room. They have to draft a wide receiver.
There's a reason they cleared it out, though. It's because they don't want wide receivers. That's the reason
they had old, overpriced guys. I mean, I'm sorry.
Keenan Allen was on a senior contract. The fact that he's been playing this well has been amazing. And I mean, I love Keenan Allen to death, but like it's time for them to move on from him. And then to Joe's point, Mike Williams doesn't even deserve to be in the league at this point. So, but. No, they go Neighbors. There's no way. Or Odunze. Pick your poison.
Yeah, this is Neighbors for me. The problem is I do see them being a power run team, but you got to have someone on the outside the defense respects. So
yeah, they can get somebody in the 2nd round. Why not?
They're not going to change Justin Herbert. No, they're not going to change Justin Herbert that much.
I 100% think so.
All right, fireball bet, Bill. Neighbors to the Cardinals. Or Chargers, sorry.
To the Chargers. That's fine. I don't like – they wouldn't have done all of the moves they've done this offseason. He wants to do what they did at Michigan at the Chargers, and they didn't have a wide receiver 1 on Michigan. So I don't know why he would go against everything that he's been doing just to make this happen. It just doesn't make sense to me. He didn't even have a wide receiver 1 in San Francisco, really, back in those days.
Michael Crabtree.
That was supposed to be wide receiver 1, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see, but I think he wants to shore up the O-line.
Write that down. I want that fireball bet. I got neighbors. You got alt.
Okay, it's fine. All right. On to number 6 is the Giants. This is where I would have Malik Neighbors going, but I don't know what we're going to do now. Are they going to go O-line maybe, or they could go Odunze? I don't know. I think they're going to go wide receiver, but I don't know if they take Odunze. They might trade out if this is how the board falls.
I could see the Giants trading out. They need a lot of future prospects. This to me is where JJ McCarthy goes. The way his stock
To the
was
Giants?
Going. No, not to the Giants. Trade out. Whoever wants it. The Vikings probably.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
And then get some futures out of it because the Giants are not going to fix anything, even by drafting wide receiver. I would hate this for Odunze. That's who actually I have selected here. I made mine pre-trade. I would personally think that this would be a trade for the Giants just because I think that everyone, now that your top wide receivers are off the board, your top 3 QBs, this is right where, sure, linemen, D-line, offense goes, but in reality, this is where people start getting a little like, oh shit, I got to get McCarthy before someone else gets him.
Yeah, I can see a trade here. I had Drake Maye going here. This is where I had Drake Maye going. So, yeah, trade or whoever you guys think.
To the Giants?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm honestly, if Drake Maye made it past the Patriots, I think somebody would trade up to do that. But I guess, yeah, in this world, Minnesota would trade. What sucks is I feel like they would trade both their first picks probably to move up, but we don't know if we can do that.
I was gonna do
23 too. I think you're gonna have to do 23 and 11 to move up.
You don't think I can do a 2025 first?
I feel like if you're the Giants, you don't accept anything less than 11 and both first round picks from this year. Maybe.
Yeah, but I personally think the Giants need to figure out next year too. I would think they would take a first next year as well. And 11.
I don't know. Joe, what do you think they would do?
I feel like they would demand 11 and 23. I don't think.
I think it has to be.
If he's just sitting there with it, I mean, I think I would ask for that.
I wouldn't accept anything less. I would just take the pick if it was just 2 picks, one this year, one next year.
Semantics. All right. Well, so 11 and 23 confirmed proposal. It's been accepted. The Vikings are now on the clock, and they take our boy JJ McCarthy. Correct?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. They did some moves, and they finally got to where they literally all the rumors are pointed to this at this point. I mean, it very, very well can happen. So
I think they should just wait for 11 and just take him because nobody's going to get him or take him any higher than that.
I just think that they get nervous. The Titans, maybe they've been.
Look what happened with Will Levis.
The Falcons could draft him too. I mean,
we thought Will Levis was going to go in the top 3, and he didn't go until the second round. Nobody was worried about him. Apparently, he went through every team. So I think this is a similar situation.
I personally think I actually had them choosing. This is post trades. I had the Vikings choosing JJ McCarthy at 11. I don't know. There's a lot of weird hype of him going in the top 5, and
it's Will Levis-esque, to be honest. Will Levis-esque.
Is it going to bite us this year like it did last year? We shall see.
Probably, because I think they should have just stayed put. All right, on to pick number 7. It is the Tennessee Titans. They need a lot of O-line and not a wide receiver anymore. So with this pick, I was about to say, I think this got to be Joe Alt. Oh, God. Okay, Joe, what do you got, though?
Okay. You're going to laugh. You're going to be mad. But I think they go Brock Bowers here because DeAndre Hopkins is ancient. Calvin Ridley's getting there. Treylon Burks has not shown anything. And they seem to be going absolutely all in this year. So I think you get Brock Bowers. Not only does it set you up for the future, having a receiver like him on your team, but it makes you very competitive in the meantime.
I don't think
you're trying to say you don't want to fuck up the Will Levis pick. This is how you do it.
I did actually originally think about this, but I just personally assume that they go line. That line is atrocious. And if you're going to try to make Will Levis happen, an outside tackle is where you want.
I mean, they got Petit Ferrari. Ferrer. I don't know how to say his name. He was injured all last year. Maybe see what you got in him. I don't know.
It's all. But I like your theory.
I think it's very possible that this happens, but I think it's Joe Alt, especially him slipping this far. Joe Alt to the Titans, and then we got the Falcons on the
Overruled.
On to number 8 is the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcoholics are very excited about Kirk Cousins being there now. Could be in the market for a wide receiver. Can't rule that one completely out, but my pick for them would be Dallas Turner, the defensive end from Alabama. I think they're going to want to bring in more defensive players with a defensive-minded head coach, and I think the offense, while we haven't actually seen it work yet, I think that they're probably comfortable enough taking somebody later on to supplement.
I had Jerzon Newton here, but I do have Dallas Turner at 9, and if Odunze is still on the board, we know where the Bears are going, so I wouldn't be upset with. I had D-line going here regardless because this defense needs some help, but.
Okay, I had Quinyon Mitchell. I think they tried to get AJ Terrell's running mate with Jeff Okudah. That did not work out last year. So Quinyon Mitchell shores up. They got 2 absolute stud cornerbacks here, and they can focus on the rest of the defense later. So that would be my bet.
Got an old-fashioned.
You have him as the first corner coming out off the board. I had DeJean going, but he's also kind of safety-ish too.
Yeah, people have really cooled off on DeJean for some reason.
My number one
Twitter.
cornerback
Very
is
interesting.
So
I know we went. I forgot. Josh wasn't here for that episode, but I was like naming the top 3 cornerbacks, and Joe just goes completely out of nowhere and picks Kool-Aid as the number 1.
My number 1 personally is Nate Wiggins. I don't think he'll be the first one off the board, but I think he's going to be the best.
Well, what I said was Cooper, DeJean, Nate Wiggins, and Quinyon, and Joe's like, "Well, I think it's gonna be Kool-Aid," and I was like, "Oh, okay." I didn't even have him on there as potentially QB or cornerback 1.
I had Kool-Aid slipping, but I personally think Nate Wiggins. I hope he goes to the Eagles personally, but he's just got the speed and exactly what you need from a corner, physicality. But okay, we're back to this pick. We're all over the place. Does anyone have someone they feel very strongly about who we should draft for the Falcons here? Obviously, we're going defense. I'd be okay with going Dallas Turner. If you guys are good with Quinyon Mitchell too, I'll take that for them.
I feel better about Turner than Mitchell, but at the same time, I don't want to overrule everything.
Joe, are you okay if we go down?
So.
All right, Joe, you'll get a pick eventually. We'll give you one. Actually, let's give you this pick. Dallas Turner goes to the Falcons. Number 9, the Chicago Bears are on the clock. Who do they grab, Joe?
All right, well, I had Joe Alt falling here, so I was going to take him, but I guess I'll go Odunze. Good consolidation prize. Got to keep talking.
Who did you say?
Consolation
you
prize.
Kind of glitched up.
Joe Rome. It's Rome.
Oh,
it's Rome is the pick, though.
It's definitely Rome. That's why I gave it to you because it was easy.
God damn, man.
That is diabolical, man.
Odunze to the Bears.
All right. So the Bears at number 9 take Odunze, which makes the Jets on the clock here at number 10. They're actually favored to take Brock Bowers right now, which I think is interesting. But what do we think that they do? That doesn't mean they're going to do that, but what do we think?
I was originally thinking a tackle, just keep this line and Aaron Rodgers upright. So I had Taliese Fuaga, but it could be Fashanu, whoever you have as the next tackle off the board.
Joe?
Oh, yeah, I think you got to go line here. I love the Brock Bowers idea, but I think you got to go with the line. And it's going to screw up the rest of my draft again, Bill, but I would go Fuaga here.
Okay, Fuaga it is then.
Yeah, honestly, I will say that, I mean, Brock Bowers would make a lot of sense here, but like, I don't think the weapons are the option. It's keeping Rodgers healthy. That's the problem.
I just want to know why Vegas thinks that. Like, I mean, they do need a tight end, I guess, but why? I'm just wondering. I mean, I guess a lot of money has come in on that, so that's why they have it like that. But it's just, I don't know. I didn't really ever think of them as one of the potential Brock Bowers landing spots. So I don't know. That's
in our last draft, I had Bowers going there. But I don't know.
Okay.
I just think the reason
Vegas ahead of the time, Joe.
The reason Vegas thinks that is because they know Aaron Rodgers is the GM there right now. So,
oh well, yeah, I guess that's
true.
true.
A pass catcher.
All right,
he's never really been a tight end guy though. In general, like I mean, I get Brock Bowers as a freak,
not
but
really.
like It's not like he's ever really thrown to tight ends. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it'd be great because you kind of get a little bit of best of both worlds of what we were both talking about. Like another pass catcher, sure, would be great, more stats, and then also some blocking. But like, I just feel like why not shore up some tackle and offensive line?
He just needs to get Richard Rodgers out of retirement and just come up there and hang out for a little bit. The old Rodgers to Rodgers connection.
Is Mercedes Lewis on that team yet? So I know he was a Bear last
Probably
year.
not yet, but he will be soon enough. All right, on to pick 11, which in our draft, in our fictional draft, is now the Giants. And I honestly think they go with the tackle who I'm not going to pretend like I know how to say that name. Fashanu. We'll just say Fashanu as the pick here. And I think that's probably who they would have gone with potentially earlier than that too.
Yeah, I mean, they're not. I feel like they committed relatively to Daniel Jones. They could easily draft a backup quarter or another quarterback, but I think they can also get that at number 23 potentially, even if they want to go with Penix or Bonix if they're still sitting there. So I think getting a good tackle, boosting up this offensive line is smart.
Yeah, they need line help. Hey, you guys remember Jermichael Finley?
I do.
Sure do.
He was one of my favorite dudes.
For sure. All right, on to pick.
Good talk.
Didn't know how to segue into that. Well, I don't hardly have much Jermichael Finley
banter
bust out here. Yeah, so on to a more exciting topic, which is number 12 pick being the Denver Broncos. They do need a quarterback, but I don't think there's one they get at this point. So what do you guys think that they do? Defense, potentially a wide receiver? What do you guys think?
All right, hear me out. The Bengals trade up and get Brock Bowers. They finally get the tight end. How amazing would that be?
That would be sweet.
I have them drafting Cooper DeJean here, but that'd be cool because after Justin Simmons is gone, it makes sense to get a corner safety linebacker hybrid.
What if they did this move where they traded T. Higgins here? They just took the pick from the Broncos and trade them T. Higgins.
And then
get Brock Bowers.
And get Brock Bowers.
I mean, yeah, sure, they could get Brock Bowers, but what do you guys think about that potential trade?
I can see it. I mean, the Broncos are definitely in the market for wide receiver.
What pick did AJ Brown go for? Was it 18?
11.
11? Okay, well, I think this is
no. It was in the 9, 10, 11, I believe. Maybe it was 10. It was definitely like around this time.
Happen, then. I don't know.
I mean, are you really making that trade though if you're the Broncos? Because I mean, you got to pay him. You have no assets at all.
I mean, you pay him, and you get to write him off this year you're not paying him much this year, and then hopefully that Russell Wilson contract's sort of under control at that point. So I don't dislike it for a financial move, and you got a wide receiver for the future.
Yeah, I definitely like the thought process.
They also don't have a pick in the second round because of the Sean Payton thing. So I feel like they might have to take a pick here, but they could load up on assets. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, maybe they just keep the pick. What do we think that they do if they keep the pick?
Cooper DeJean.
Josh had DeJean. I had Terrion Arnold because I think after the combine he's solidified himself as a top 2 guy. But
okay. I'm fine with that. We could do Cooper.
One of those two paired with Surtain would be nasty.
Actually, let's go Terrion Arnold. I believe in Joe.
Yeah, let's keep the pick here. I like your idea of the Higgins trade here. I would love to see the Bengals get Bowers too.
I'm just trying to think who would trade for him, and this is a team where I think maybe, but at the same time, they don't actually have any more picks like after this, basically for 2 days. So I don't know.
2 days.
All right, on to pick 13, which is the Las Vegas Raiders. I think they need O-line help, but I could hear you out on like maybe some defense. What do we think they do?
I had Latu going here. Someone to pair with our boy Max Crosby.
I got who they just Wilkins, right? That would be gnarly.
Yeah, but that's in the middle.
Yeah, no, I didn't even think about that. No, I know he is. I was just talking it out here. I had Nate Wiggins because Mark Davis loves speed. That's pretty much his thing.
Yeah. As much as I hate that, I could also see that.
Yeah,
also
I think they could go.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think they could go cornerback. I think Mitchell could go here too. He's really fast.
Didn't you actually have Quinyon going first?
Yeah, I had him going at 8 to Atlanta, so I forgot he was still on the board.
Let's keep Wiggins on the board.
I just assumed you guys liked my thought process enough and kept all my picks.
I do like your idea of the speed though, because that is something that the Raiders would do. But yeah, I say Quinyon Mitchell, just because he's higher.
Quinyon it is.
There we go to the Raiders, and we got the Saints on the board, and this is where the Brock Bowers slide stopped, in my opinion. The Saints grab Brock Bowers. They've been like trying at this tight end thing for the longest time. It just hasn't been a thing. There's not really a receiver you need to draft at this point on the board that you can get right here.
Who is left at O-line? That's the only position I think could rival it, but I don't know if we have anybody on here that's
Fautanu from Washington, and then Mims from Georgia, and JC Lathan as well. I mean, there's definitely tackles there.
I don't know, because I just don't know if they go Brock Bowers, but I mean, I guess they could.
It's okay.
I like
you
the
guys
thought
don't
of
have
Brock
to.
Bowers here. I had Latu just because that defense is old as dirt, so it would
That
make
is true.
sense.
Cam Jordan's been
here,
playing for a
but
decade.
I love the idea of putting Bowers on that team. He can kind of be the healthy Mike Thomas.
Okay, we can do that. That'll screw up Indianapolis's pick. That's who I thought.
Well,
that's who I thought would end up with him. But
they're going Brian Thomas, man.
I guess we'll find out in one pick. Yeah, I guess we can go Brock Bowers here.
Brock Bowers to the Saints, and I actually just said my pick to the Colts is Brian Thomas. So I don't know if that's what you guys got, but
yeah, Brian Thomas.
Billy,
Brian
do you have a say? You have a say? It doesn't.
I mean,
matter,
no,
you
can make the pick. I do think the Colts are in an interesting position as far as what they can do. They do need to get Anthony Richardson more weapons. I personally think it's going to be Brock Bowers, but if he's off the board, they're going to have to pivot. And Brian Thomas is not a bad choice to go here. So yeah,
Brian Thomas to the Colts. We got the Seahawks. Do you think they draft another wide receiver?
I think they go I think they do one of the guards. I think they're going to do Troy Fautanu because they need an O-line. And the coach is from Washington. So what better way of shoring up your O-line than picking the guard that you worked with at Washington? So I think that is a match made in heaven.
Fair enough. I had Verse here. I think this is where he's starting to gain some traction. But yeah, I'm good with Fautanu as well. Might as well boost this line. Fautanu to Seattle, and then we got on the board right now, number 17, Jacksonville Jaguars. What the heck do they do?
Well, they need a wide receiver. This is kind of where I was thinking Brian Thomas might go, but we have to pivot because he's not on the board anymore. So I don't even know who else would go wide receiver wise in the first round. I'm interested though to see what you guys think.
Worthy's going to pop up there.
Yeah, I mean, I think wide receivers kind of wait till the playoff teams at this point. It's a little early to draft a wide receiver, in my opinion, at 17. But I mean, we've seen crazier things. I think we're going to have another
Well, they just need one. All they've got is Gabe Davis and Kirk, and I don't think anybody is going to trust both of them to carry this offense. I think they're going to need somebody there, but I guess they could wait. Trade down potential here if somebody needed to come up and get somebody, but I don't know. I think they're going to be making some offers to try to trade out of this pick.
Fair enough. I mean, this could be where the Bo Nix Penix conversation starts as well.
Somebody trading up for one of them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't personally like it, but I can see it happening. QB needy teams.
For sure. So what do you guys think is going to happen there?
I had Quinyon Mitchell going here, so corner personally.
I had Cooper DeJean going here, so I guess Josh and I will just switch our cornerback picks here.
Yeah.
They got Ronald Darby there. He's 30 and on a 2-year deal, so get someone on the other side of Campbell.
I think they need a receiver, but I think they address that in the later rounds. I don't think they draft it right here. I think it's too early for them.
Yeah, especially if Brian is gone, then I feel like you gotta wait.
I like your point of Brian Thomas. I don't think Brian Thomas makes it past this pick.
No,
You're on first
definitely
name
not.
basis with
He's
him, Bill?
available.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
you know, Brian.
Oh, I call him BTJ technically, but Brian, look at 2 for now.
Get him
All
on the
right,
show,
keeper.
man. Get him.
DeJean
I need
from
to.
Iowa going
All right.
to the Jaguars.
Pick 18 is the Cincinnati Bengals. They might need a wide receiver based on, if Higgins is going to be there or not. This would be another spot for BTJ, but again, they don't need a wide receiver. So what do you guys think the Bengals might do here?
I had Fautanu going here, so I had offensive line just always keep Joe Burrow safe, in my opinion. But I could see edge rusher as well. Latu and Jared Verse are still sitting on the board right now. Johnny Newton, maybe a big guy to go in the middle. I've seen Jerzon and Johnny. So
I had
do you think, Joe?
Adonai Mitchell going here, but since he's slipping, I would go Jared Verse. He's going to be 24 in the season next year, but the Bengals are in win now mode, so it would make sense.
Okay, we could do that. That's fine.
Jared Verse to the Bengals. And then we have the Rams.
Okay. This is where Jerzon Newton goes. They just
That
lost
makes
a
a
Hall
lot
of
of
Fame
sense.
D tackle.
Oh,
They
yeah.
just lost the Hall of Fame D tackle, and they need a new one. Seems like that is the exact way they should go.
Don't fuck me on this because Newton needs to go to the Dolphins. I need it to happen.
Well, in real life, maybe he will, but in this mock draft, he's going to go to the Rams.
It also could be Byron Murphy from Texas too, like one of those two guys. So I don't want to, it doesn't have to be Newton, but I think it might be Newton. All right, on to pick 20, we got Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock. I think they're looking at a tackle here, but I'm willing to listen.
I had JC Latham going here personally.
That's who I did too, by the way. That's
I had a tackle
dead on
going
who I
here.
had.
JC Latham to the Steelers. That was easy. And then to your point just a second ago, Byron Murphy I had going to the Dolphins because you got to replace Wilkins at this point. But yeah, I could see this Newton and Murphy being flip-flopped,
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, they could go Verse just because both of their edge rushers are coming off of injury. But
we just had Verse go to the Bengals.
oh, well then Latu.
But Latu is still there, and I think this is much longer than where he'll make it.
Xavier Worthy's going to this team. I know exactly what's going to happen here.
They're just going to actually get the new Tyreek Hill. The comps are going to be ridiculous. How do you comp someone on the same team?
Yep, that's what Mike McDaniel wants, so that's what Mike McDaniel's going to get. I don't think he should. I just know how this is going to go. I just know that's how it's going to happen, and we're just going to have two Tyreek Hill on the same team.
Joe, do you want to overrule Billy and being ridiculous?
That's fine. You can overrule me. That is completely fine. I just have an idea that that's how it's going to go.
You did this a lot to you earlier, Joe.
The Byron Murphy makes probably the most sense, but
I think
they go late
not
to
make it this far. Yeah,
I think they go late to because if he's there, why wouldn't you take him?
I just think the medicals are probably going to scare people. That's the thing. Like, I think that's why I don't know. At the same time, like, medicals be damned. He did do what he did last year with those medicals being the same problem. So, I don't know. Maybe you're right.
All right, now the Eagles are on the clock, and in Joe's click-through mock draft, he had Byron Murphy going here, and I was like, fuck, we're just going to stack up on D-line, but he was just clicking through, so it was nice. I don't think there's any way Nate Wiggins doesn't get drafted here at this point.
It's Nate
Kool-Aid
Wiggins.
could as well. Yeah,
It's
I think
Kool-Aid.
Wiggins,
I know you want to spend an hour talking about the Eagles and what all their potentials are here, but it's Nate Wiggins.
It's cool.
No, I was really just going to say it's Nate Wiggins. I could see us drafting an edge rusher because we're weird like that and trade Hassan Reddick, but, And Joe, you're on the Eagles. Will you buy the jersey for me?
Yes. I'm going to buy whatever jersey or whatever team he goes to.
That's awesome. All right. Pick 23 is actually the Giants again. They traded with the Minnesota Vikings, and they took an O-line piece with the first pick. So with the second pick, I think we're going to go wide receiver here. Now, who that's going to be, I don't know.
I think this is when Penix and Penix really get into the fold personally. If the Giants have the 23rd pick, I don't think they don't take a quarterback.
Okay.
I had
I
Penix
could
going at
listen to that
23.
to the
Really?
Vikings.
Yeah.
That's wild. But I love that. So Penix it is then. That's great. I like that.
I think all craziness beside them, the Giants have to figure it out at this point and get another quarterback in the room.
Yeah, because especially if this doesn't work out with Daniel Jones, you just need another adult in the room. And Penix, given all of his problems with medicals and all that, like he's at least an adult in the room, and you know what you're getting from him. So I don't know. I don't hate that. That's actually probably what they should do. Wide receiver is still a problem, but there is a whole plethora of wide receivers left that they can use to address that position. All right, on to the Dallas Cowboys at 24. They desperately need a running back, but we don't have anybody that's going to go in the first round this year. So I would actually pick.
Sorry,
you say it's Jonathan Brooks in the 100%.
I really could see the Cowboys doing it, just getting the next big guy. Sure, injury be damned.
Next Texas guy,
and I think he also would. I also think he would be at this pick, barring the injury. And I think the Cowboys are dumb enough to make this pick. But I actually picked Terrion Arnold personally.
Okay. I had Guyton from Oklahoma going here.
Guyton would make sense.
But Mims is still on the board too. So like I don't know. I mean, Mims is probably the better prospect, but
I had Barton going here just because of his versatility.
That's true.
The line's
play
pretty
two
set.
positions.
He could kind of slide in there and go.
That's true. Well, didn't they lose somebody though to the Jets? Right? Didn't that happen?
Yeah.
This season.
I don't care. It's the Cowboys. They did nothing in free agency.
I always want to say La'el Collins, but I know he's long gone.
Yeah, he was the last one.
Carroll Smith, right?
So
So are we thinking Barton instead? Kind of give him that guard tackle.
Well, yeah, we could do that. That'll give him time. That'll give him something to work with.
That actually does scream Cowboys, unfortunately, is just getting a line.
Well, and then so pick 25 is the Green Bay Packers. Mims can't make it past them. This is
100%.
No. I think.
I actually had
Tyler Nubin is the pick here. So they need a safety.
I agree, but I think
Rudy
you get that later.
I'm sorry.
I just think if Mims makes it this far, they got to take him. It's not necessarily a position they need to, but I don't know.
This is what happens every year when a team finds its quarterback officially. You go get an offensive tackle for him, and I assume they become best friends. I don't know what happens inside locker rooms.
Sure.
Mims to the Packers.
Okay. On to pick 26, which is the Tampa Bay Bucks. They need lot of stuff. So my pick personally would be Jackson Powers Johnson at center. I think that would be something they need but I'm willing to listen because I'm not sure. They need a lot of things.
Oh yeah. It's Kool-Aid. It screams Bucks.
I had old Chop Robinson going here, old pork chop.
We could not be further off, guys.
For sure. Okay, so my pitch for the O-line is that was like one of their weaknesses on offense, and it would really help out their running game because they couldn't get any holes made for damn, I forgot his name. That's bad.
Rachaad White.
The Tampa Bay Bucks. Yeah, Rachaad White. I think it would be important for them to address the center position because they definitely need it because they need interior line. But again, I know you guys both want to go defense, so that's also something they need.
I mean,
I actually had Jackson
that.
Powers Johnson going a few picks before this to the original Vikings. So I don't disagree with you.
Can we get the best center in the draft with Powers Johnson? I don't know.
Let me know what you guys want to do.
It's just, I don't know. You want Logan Hall to be your starting defensive end?
I just think they did a good job with defense later in the draft last year. So, why not try that again? I don't know. I think they can shore up the position later on.
I got you. Yeah,
I think Baker needs a center.
Powers Johnson to the Bucks at 26. That puts the Cardinals on the clock for the Houston
pick 27 is the Cardinals. They got it from Houston. Man, this is very interesting. Because I think they might go wide receiver again, guys. Wouldn't it be insane if they went wide receiver again?
Yeah.
And they don't have another one on the team, really. I mean, they have Dortch, and he is a GOAT. But They could pick one of these guys that's a little bit further down here, like AD Mitchell or somebody like.
So hear me out.
Okay.
I had Bo Nix going here. I don't love it, but I could see the Cardinals doing it. I don't know how they feel about Kyler. I know they've said they're all in on him.
Well, I think not trading Kyler meant they liked Kyler. I think,
but that doesn't mean you don't draft his replacement. And I think Bo Nix could make it into the first round. I don't personally love it, but I could see it happening.
Okay, Joe. No, Joe. What do you think is going to happen here?
I think they go Kool-Aid, man. I really do.
Okay, that
doesn't help at all.
It doesn't help.
It is a choice. I know you want to get Kool-Aid in on this.
I got to get him in the first round, Bill.
But we're going to have a wide receiver run at
round.
some point, and I feel like they did already take a wide receiver, so I could see why that would be the argument against it. But this late in the draft, first round, we're going to get some wide receivers running here. So I don't know. But
I could have seen the Eagles could have taken a Donnie Mitchell. I could see them taking a wide receiver. There's been a lot of drama, personally. The Cowboys could take a wide receiver as well.
We're going to put Bo Nix on the shelf. Between our two picks, me and Joe, who are you picking? Kool-Aid or Mitchell?
Kool-Aid, 100%.
Okay.
I don't think they go wide receiver again. I mean, I actually think that there's a little bit of gas in the tank for Michael Wilson. Give him the opportunity. I think they could possibly add someone later in the draft, but I don't think it's right now.
That would actually be devastating for Michael Wilson if they added AD Mitchell. They kind of live on the same block, but AD Mitchell's a little bit better. All right, on to pick 28, which is the Buffalo Bills. I do think there's a chance that they move up in the draft to try to get a wide receiver, but with the Stefon Diggs trade, I think that this is full-on out wide receiver mode. Who is it going to be?
I had a Donnie Mitchell here, but you could make the argument for Keon Coleman, Worthy, Franklin.
I had a Donnie Mitchell going way higher. So I would say him. It would not shock me if they went Worthy though.
Worthy actually makes a whole lot of sense.
The only thing that concerns me about Mitchell is like he's not a super like run after catch guy. Like once he catches it, so like does that help Josh Allen enough? I feel like he's going to need a better playmaker, like a Worthy, McConkey, one of those kind of guys.
Well, I feel like McConkey plays the same role as your Kincaid and your Khalil Shakir.
So I mean, that's a good point. That is a good point.
I think, AD Mitchell will give you the red zone presence, get you the guy that can win contested catches. Xavier Worthy would just spread out that entire offense. So
it just would make so much sense for them to go Worthy. I could see it being Worthy. He's worthy of this pick.
Okay. All right. All right.
See if we can finagle some more wide receivers here.
I appreciate you adding that in. All right. So on to pick 29, which is the Detroit Lions. This is where I had Latu going. So I don't know what you guys want to do with this pick now. It's kind of a weird pick for them because what they need is not necessarily, I don't know, super.
I actually had Graham Barton going here, which we obviously have is long gone. Really, though, like Byron Murphy, Chop Robinson, I mean, there's still some D-line out there. I'm not saying wide receivers shouldn't be off the board for the Lions. Obviously, we want J-Mo to succeed. And then we got Amon-Ra, but I could see the Lions.
Maybe it's Chop.
That seems more of a Dan Campbell draft pick for sure, though. In reality, he's going to do something wild. He's going to get Peyton Wilson, add him to the team.
Yeah, probably so. Be somebody we're not even thinking about in the first round and put him up here. But why not get somebody?
Here. Okay. I just think they need to plug in the middle there.
We could do that. We could do Byron Murphy.
Byron Murphy seems to make the most sense. I would
Chop
love to
see be awesome.
I would love to see another edge on the other side of Hutch, but
for sure. Yeah. All right, on to pick 30.
So Murphy?
Yeah, Murphy. Sorry. Okay. On to pick 30 is the Baltimore Ravens. Don't think they're going to take another wide receiver again. This would be a Guyton pick if it was up to me.
I had Braswell going here, so I could see Chop going here as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is the total luxury pick.
Yeah, it's
I
just,
would lean offensive line just because of the way Lamar Jackson plays, but
yeah,
I mean,
I would
they
go
could
with
go
Guyton here
with
as well.
wide receiver too.
I actually had Guyton going the next pick to the 49ers, but I could see him going here as well. I mean, like you said, Joe, this is a luxury pick. They can pick whoever the hell they want.
Yeah, load
A
up.
wide
on
receiver,
offensive line
I
if
could
you
see them going receiver though too. I think we need
Yeah.
to talk about it at least. I mean, I'm not saying we have to put it in there, but like,
I just don't think they're going to go another first round one after taking one last year. I just don't think they're going to do it 2 years in a row. I don't know. That's just me. I think they do
really
need to
good.
address it, but they could address it in the second round. There's plenty of good wide receivers left.
Fair enough.
You're absolutely
Chopper,
right. I just,
Guyton.
I think Guyton here, and then I would say Chop would be going one pick after this. So at pick 31, the San Francisco 49ers, I think this is Chop.
Yep.
Okay.
I agree with
I basically had this flip-flopped, although I think Chop's actually
Well, they've been trying to replace this position, and they just haven't been able to figure it out. They did add Leonard Floyd, but I feel like if that's your fix, then you haven't made the fix. So I think Chop Robinson will be would be a good add for this team.
Doesn't Chop kind of Leonard Floyd light?
I could see it. I could see it. Hopefully a better career, but I could see it.
Yeah. Get him a mentor. I like it.
Pick 32 is the Kansas City Chiefs. I bet on them to pick a cornerback. This board has not gone that direction where they would be getting a cornerback. So, AD Mitchell, since we haven't taken him yet, I mean, that's kind of who would be perfect for this team.
He would be great for this team. Lad McConkey would be great for this team, too.
I had McConkey going here, but I also had AD Mitchell off the board already. So,
don't we think McConkey's kind of what Rashee Rice was, though? Like, don't they need a big outside guy?
That's a big outside guy.
But it's the Chiefs, and who knows? They just do whatever they want. I had McConkey going here, so I'd be perfectly fine with that as well.
I had AD Mitchell long gone, so
yeah, I know that's the problem. McConkey just kind of.
The only question with AD Mitchell is his lack of college production, which, like, I know why. I did the write up on him, but still, I mean, I kind of feel like the teams might be as.
I mean, what's funny is they were on the same team together. AD and McConkey were both on Georgia 2 years ago. So, and I mean, Mitchell is a touchdown machine, whereas Lad McConkey is more of a possession guy. So I don't know.
I love AD Mitchell.
Put him on
possession guy makes sense because sadly one day Kelsey's not going to be playing football again.
But they have Rashee Rice. They have the person that's doing the job.
But they haven't really used him as a possession guy per se. It's just kind of been whatever he can do. He was the only receiver on the team. I mean, sure, that is his role, but I don't know. I'm okay with any of them, honestly. I put Keon Coleman out here too.
Just put AD Mitchell on the team.
All right. AD Mitchell, and that's our draft, ladies and gentlemen.
That is our draft. All right. Can you pull? Is there like a afterwards guide so that we can kind of read over this for the just listening audience since they don't have a visual guide?
Yep. I was just trying to get it all situated.
Oh, you're good. I just didn't know if it. Yeah, this is a perfect screen. All right. So, without reading through all the picks again, I don't think the podcast audience wants us to listen through or list all of the players out. But is there any of these picks on here that you want to criticize? We can each take turns, maybe a minute or two, talking about why we don't believe in that pick.
Sure.
Yeah, I just want to criticize the Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, Jaden Daniels. I know this has nothing to do with Caleb Williams. I could probably just leave him out of this. But really, my thing is I don't think Drake Maye and Jaden Daniels are the second and third pick in any draft other than this one because there's so many quarterback needy teams. I just feel like third and sixth or something, sure, but like the QB market right now is just so wild because like I feel like last year we had like 36 quarterbacks that could be starters, and this year I feel like we have 23, and it's wild how fast that changes in the National Football League. And personally, I wish them all the luck. I just don't. I feel like this doesn't right the ship for at least one of the teams, either the Commanders or the Patriots.
Here is what I don't get and why I agree with you is there's nobody mentoring these guys once they get in the building, especially with the Patriots. I don't even know who. Is it just Bailey Zappi, I think.
Yeah.
The only other quarterback there. And why would you not bring in like a Jameis Winston, a Gardner Minshew, somebody that can like keep the ship on course right away so that you don't have to throw these guys out day one. I get why the Bears are doing it because it appears as if Caleb Williams is ready to go right away. But Drake May's not. Jaden Daniels might not be. I know that he won the Heisman.
I say this every year, Bill. You're
They
preaching
got
to the
Jacoby
choir.
Brissett, Bill.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, Josh. I'm starting to come to your side on it because it's just so many of the teams they're going to are so bad that you put them in these positions and then you don't give them any help and you're just setting them up to fail.
Justin Fields is that exact.
Fields is not that bad as he was.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened to that, and that's what happens to is happening to Bryce Young, has happened to Zach Wilson. I mean, there's a lot of decent.
Well, I think even Mac Jones and like Kenny Pickett, you put them on these teams and you didn't give them any help. Well, Ritter was given plenty of shit and he did not do anything with it. But the Steelers only kind of started getting wide receivers recently, and the Patriots just didn't care at all about actually getting Mac Jones help. There was nobody on that team that deserves to be a wide receiver one. I don't know. So I don't know why they get these guys so high and then don't give them any chance. Like they're either sink or swim. And why would you do that to somebody that's going to be your franchise possibly?
Well, I mean, there's a reason Jordan Loves and Jalen Hurts exist is because they sat and relaxed. And Lamar Jackson, even, I mean, he learned how to play football his rookie year. Yeah,
Mahomes didn't play except for the last game of the season, and it's like, why are we not thinking that might be the direction to go to? Even players like Dak Prescott, like he sat behind Tony Romo. He came in because of an injury, like it was just happened to be that way, his rookie season. But he wasn't planning to do that. I don't know. It's just kind of weird how this is going now again. So
it keeps happening every year, and it's really sad. But yeah, I honestly like Drake Maye and Jaden Daniels. I wish them the best. I'm sure one of them will work out, and I don't know which one that is. I can't tell you. Like in Dynasty, if you want to roll the dice on them, I completely understand, especially in Superflex, like you have to. But like, I'm not excited about them. I think maybe Drake Maye a little bit more just because of the weapons in our draft. That is.
Well, Daniels is going to be a runner, so that's always going to give him a little.
Well, in fantasy, Justin Fields is amazing. So, like, yeah, I'm still going to draft Justin Fields when it comes down to it. But, like, at the same time, like, it's sad to watch him, flail around playing football. No offense, Joe.
Oh, you're good.
Well, and Anthony Richardson was good, too. Same thing.
Yeah.
The reason that I thought Washington was going Jaden Daniels is because they have Marcus Mariota on the team, which, in theory, they could start Marcus Mariota. You showed it with the Falcons a couple years ago that he was decent. And then the Patriots have Jacoby Brissett, which, take that with you well. So they do have people there. It's just like, I agree with you guys. I mean, it's silly that they do this.
Oh, I mean, I think it's a swap. You could put Drake Maye or Jaden Daniels on Washington. It's just who they prefer. Basically, we have no idea. I just personally, I'm actually being selfish. I just want it to be Drake Maye because I want the receivers and running backs to get the fair share of targets, and Jayden steals a little bit of that.
Well, even bringing in like Tannehill, like something like that, just he's not going to win a bunch of games, but you don't need
Joe Flacco.
You just need to develop exactly. That's exactly a good point. Joe Flacco, same thing. Just bring him in. You don't need him to win a bunch of games. You just need him to keep the ship on track while the other player learns. But whatever. All right, the pick I'm going to criticize because I'm going to continue to criticize it even when it happens is JJ McCarthy. You're going to be able to get him at 11. I know that the Vikings are going to panic trade up. I just know it's going to happen, but it's weird that it hasn't already happened. And maybe they're going to wait until draft night to kind of see how the board's fallen. And they've already came out and said that they're potentially going to just punt on the quarterback position and go into 2025, potentially taking whoever's the top quarterback then. But why not just wait until 11? Nobody is taking JJ McCarthy. This is an inflated asset that nobody's actually going to take. So there's no reason to panic and take him and give up 2 picks when you don't need to. I know that they think they need to, but they don't need to. I promise you that.
No, I personally don't think I think that they would trade their first round next year. I think they would keep the 23 and try to actually build something around this because Justin Jefferson's not going to wait around forever. I mean, they're going to start being pissed and we're going to see a Stefon Diggs in 5 years, 3 years less. I don't know. But I do agree. It's JJ McCarthy. I don't get it. Like personally, I think you could get him at 11 for one.
Yeah.
Two, I think that
you can.
he should go at 18 or something. Like I like JJ McCarthy. I think he's gonna be good, but like he needs a lot of work. He needs to sit behind someone. We're looking at this again. Who's he sitting behind? Nobody.
Sam
Darnold.
Okay, well, so at least he can tell him how not to fail. I guess I don't know. No
You
offense.
can
to
teach
Sam
them how to see ghosts.
That was such
Be a
wild
Ghostbuster.
time.
Yeah. I mean, looking at this draft, it's pretty surprising. I don't dislike any of it. The only thing that is shocking to me was Brock Bowers to the Saints, but it actually makes a ton of sense. So I'm all for it. That's just not a team that I was considering Brock Bowers for. And when it fell that way, I was like, damn, that makes a lot of sense.
I personally
good job,
see
guys.
the Bengals trading up to 12, 13, 14. 12 would make a lot of sense for the Broncos, like we talked about. Maybe it's not T. Higgins. Maybe they just trade up, throw some assets around, and go get Brock Bowers. Because, like, there's no way. I mean, I don't know. We said this last year. There's no way they don't go and get a tight end this year, right? Like, and if you're getting one, you're getting the best one.
Yeah, I don't see why the Bengals are doing this themselves. They need one. I mean, they can get one later in the draft, but they don't do it. So it's like kind of just waiting for something that's not going to happen. And there definitely will be more trades. We only made one because we think the Vikings are going to do that, but there's going to be more trades, obviously. Like, we haven't seen them. There's a bunch of trade down targets in that 12 to 18 range where they could just punt on the pick and not take it, because even the Lions, I think at 29 could potentially, if somebody wanted to trade back up to get somebody, they could give that pick away easily. They don't need anything. Or they could trade the pick
team
for
outside
Higgins.
of number one making a trade. Honestly,
The Bills actually could trade for T. Higgins. That would make the most sense. I don't know how we haven't mentioned that.
Possible. Well, I just think Cincinnati would not want to give them T. Higgins. Like, that's the only reason I don't think that would happen.
Fair enough, but it's like conference, not division. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the Cowboys
could
could throw
each other.
24 and get Lamb and Higgins
and get T. Higgins. That would be funny. They could use him. That's not completely impossible. Lions should do it. Give up 29, and maybe they have to give up like a third or a fourth and grab T. Higgins. And put him.
Oh, that's going to be the fun thing on draft night. Is T. Higgins getting traded, or the Bengals going to re-sign him at some point, or is he gone? Like, gotta be fun.
Because this has holdout written all over it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we knew it from the get-go. They weren't going to be able to pay Burrow, then Chase, then Higgins, and it was just, we knew it.
It seems like everyone knew it but them, and they just thought it was going to play out and be hunky-dory.
I think they think that because everybody on the team are just friends, that like they're all going to be like, oh, kumbaya, I don't need as much money because I'm playing with my friends. It's like, no, that's not actually how people play. Like, no, they're
that's what
friends,
Mixon did the last couple years though. He kept taking team-friendly deals, and
that's the running back thing where they
it's still a good move by him. And then he's like, you know what, I'm out. I'm gonna go get paid, and I'm gonna be on a better team.
Well, I think they were gonna
get a ring,
cut him anyway. Yeah, exactly. He's gonna be fighting for a ring this season. But yeah, that's gonna be fun on draft night. Okay, well, that wraps up our mock draft 2.0. We do have more draft content coming in the next weeks, leading all the way up until the draft. We'll figure out what we're doing. We've done a live draft show the last 3 years. We'll figure out how that's going with the IDP guys. I think they do a draft show. Maybe we'll pop on for part of it, or maybe we'll just be, in the holding room with everyone else. I don't know. We'll see how that's going to go. Also, everyone out there, please go get the rookie guide. We've already got plenty of sales, but we would love to see more. You're going to need this guide come dynasty draft time, redraft time, just if you want to get up to date on all of the important rookies. That's IDP and offense. It's a very good guide to grab. I mean, we wrote it, so I mean, obviously we know how good it is, but I don't want to brag, but like we need to come in, go get that guide, and yeah, help yourself out. We're trying. Let us help you. We don't have to listen to these podcasts. We love you to listen, but read about it as well. And that way you have something physical or on your phone that can teach you everything you need to know about the rookies in this class.
Love everything about it. But
be careful, though. It's spicy.
It is. Thank you, Russell. It's a very spicy guide. But it is safe for work, so don't worry about that either. All right. That being said, thank you to Russell. Thank you to the guys for another rousing mock draft. Joe, get us out of here.
Good night.